All right, ready for another deep dive? Today we're looking at a talk by Elder David A. Bednar called With the Power of God in Great Glory. He gave it back in October 2021 at a big gathering for members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Oh, okay.
But, I think there's something here for everyone, even if you're not, religious or anything. It's really about the power of commitments,
Yeah.
something we all deal with, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's something everyone can relate to, for sure.
And Elder Bednar ties it all into the Book of Mormon and family history in a, well, it's pretty fascinating, actually.
I'm intrigued.
So he starts off with this story that's like straight out of a movie.
Okay.
He talks about this angel, Moroni, visiting Joseph Smith. And Joseph Smith is a key figure in this faith. And the angel visits him to tell him about, you guessed it, the Book of Mormon.
Ah, the Book of Mormon, right. Like their foundational scripture, another testament of Jesus Christ.
Exactly. It's not about replacing the Bible, but like building upon it. But here's where it gets interesting. Elder Bednar calls the Book of Mormon the great tool of conversion. Not just a book, a tool, right?
Interesting.
So what makes it so powerful?
Well, you see, for Latter-day Saints, the goal is to invite everyone to come into Christ and develop a deep relationship with him. And the Book of Mormon is seen as like this, a catalyst for that, helping people connect with Christ's teachings, find faith, and like endure through challenges,
So it's not just reading words, it's about experiencing this like profound shift in perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like those classic conversion stories you hear across different cultures and religions.
Absolutely. It's about finding a belief system that truly resonates with you and guides you through the tough times.
Okay, so we've got this angel, a new book, and now family history. Moroni didn't just tell Joseph Smith about the Book of Mormon. He also talked about the importance of Elijah and something called priesthood authority.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. So Elijah was this prophet who, according to their scriptures, restored the ability to perform these sacred rituals or ordinances.
Okay, so for folks who aren't familiar with this, think of it like sacraments or rites of passage in other religions. It's about marker important life events like baptisms or weddings.
Exactly. But in this case, it's about connecting with God. And get this, not just for the living, but also for the dead.
Oh, wow. So this is where family history comes in.
Precisely. These ordinances can be performed for ancestors who didn't have the chance while they were living.
So they're offering these spiritual benefits to those who've already passed on.
Yeah, it's about extending those blessings beyond this life. It's really about these eternal family ties, reaching beyond the veil, so to speak.
I can see how that would be powerful, yeah. But then Elder Bednar throws a curveball. He quotes Joseph Smith saying the greatest duty is to preach the gospel, but also that our greatest responsibility is to seek after our dead. How can both be the greatest? Isn't that kind of a contradiction?
It might seem that way, yeah. But it all makes sense when you understand how central covenants are in this faith.
All right, so let's break that down.
Yeah.
What exactly are covenants? I feel like I hear that word all the time, but...
Yeah, it can be confusing. Well, think of it like a sacred promise between you and God. It's a commitment you make through those rituals or ordinances we were talking about. It binds you to Christ and his teachings.
Oh, okay, so like a spiritual contract.
Exactly. It's a deliberate choice to live in accordance with those beliefs and principles.
That makes sense. But how does that answer the whole greatest duty, greatest responsibility thing?
Because both preaching the gospel and seeking after your dead are all about helping people enter into these covenants, whether for the first time or on behalf of those who came before.
Ah, okay, so it's not a contradiction, but two sides of the same coin.
Precisely.
Both aimed at facilitating those sacred commitments.
Right, and that's where the real power lies. It's connecting generations through shared beliefs and rituals, creating this spiritual lineage that goes beyond time.
Wow, that's pretty deep. But you know what strikes me? This whole idea of covenants, making these powerful commitments, it resonates even if you're not religious. Think about wedding vows, promises to family, even those personal goals we set for ourselves.
You're absolutely right. It's about aligning our actions with our values, whether they're religious or not. And those commitments, when we honor them, become a source of strength and guidance in our lives.
Yeah, it's like we're all searching for that connection, that anchor to something bigger than ourselves.
Right, whether through faith, family, or even a personal code of ethics.
And Elder Bednar captures that perfectly. He says, honoring covenants arms us with righteousness and with the power of God in great glory. I love that image of being like armed with righteousness.
It's powerful, isn't it? Like having this inner strength and resilience to face whatever comes our way.
Yeah, like you have this inner armor to help you through tough times.
It speaks to how those commitments can lift us up, give us courage, and even help us find joy amidst adversity.
And to illustrate this, Elder Bednar shares some incredibly moving stories. Like, we hear about people facing all sorts of challenges, accidents, adapting to new ways of life, illness, divorce, the whole spectrum of human experience.
It's like he's saying, look, no one is immune to hardship, but we don't have to face it alone.
Exactly.
And what's so powerful is that in each of these stories, the individuals find strength and comfort through their commitments, through their faith. It's like those commitments become this lifeline, helping them navigate the rough waters.
It reminds me of that saying, there's strength in numbers. But in this case, it's not just about the community, it's about the power of those shared beliefs and those commitments that bind them together.
That's a great point. It's like those commitments create a sense of belonging, a shared purpose that goes beyond individual differences. And that shared purpose, that connection, can be incredibly powerful, especially when times are tough.
So even if you're not religious, you can still see how having a strong foundation, something to believe in, can help you through life's challenges.
Absolutely. It's about finding those anchors in your life, the things that give you meaning and purpose. And those anchors can come from a variety of sources: faith, family, community, even a personal code of ethics.
It's like we're all searching for that true north, that guiding principle that helps us stay on course when things get tough.
Right. And Elder Bednar reminds us that those commitments, those anchors, don't just give us strength. They also connect us to something bigger than ourselves. He talks about how honoring covenants brings us closer to God, allowing us to tap into a power beyond our own. He calls it the power of God in great glory.
The power of God in great glory. It sounds almost mythical.
It does, doesn't it? But at its core, it's about accessing a source of strength and inspiration that goes beyond our human limits. It's about believing there's a power greater than ourselves that can help us overcome obstacles and achieve things we never thought possible.
Right. And he's not just talking about miracles or anything. It's more about that inner strength, that resilience that helps us keep going even when we want to give up.
Exactly. It's about finding that wellspring of courage and determination within, that ability to keep going even when you feel like giving up. And for Elder Bednar, that strength comes from honoring our commitments, from aligning our actions with our deepest beliefs.
So whether you call it the power of God or simply the power of belief, the message is that we all have the potential to tap into something that can help us overcome challenges and live better lives.
Absolutely. And it's not just about personal fulfillment. It's about using that strength to make a difference in the world around us. Elder Bednar emphasizes that honoring covenants isn't just about personal salvation. It's about being a force for good.
It's like that ripple effect, where one person's commitment to their values can inspire others and create a wave of positive change.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our actions have consequences, not just for ourselves, but for others as well. And when we commit to living by our values, we become part of something bigger, something that can really make a difference in the world.
So, wow, we've covered a lot. The Book of Mormon, family history, covenants, the power of commitments. It's amazing how this one touches on so much.
It really is. It speaks to the depth and complexity of Elder Bednar's message. He's weaving together all these different ideas to create something that's both rich in detail and universal in its appeal.
And even if you don't share his religious beliefs, there's so much here that you can relate to and apply to your own life.
Absolutely. It's about the power of commitment, the importance of finding those things that give us strength and purpose. It's about believing in something larger than ourselves and using that belief to make a positive impact.
It really makes you think about the commitments you've made, the promises you've kept, the values you hold dear. What gives you that sense of armed with righteousness, that inner strength to face challenges?
That's such a great question. It's something we should all think about. What are those commitments, those beliefs that guide your actions and shape your life?
And for Elder Bednar, the answer is found in the gospel of Jesus Christ, in honoring those covenants that connect us to something greater. But even if you don't share that same belief system, you can still appreciate this message.
Absolutely. It's a message about the power of belief, the importance of finding meaning and purpose. It's a reminder that we're not alone in our struggles, and that there's a source of strength and inspiration available to all of us.
It's a beautiful message,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we can all take something from it.
I agree. It's a message that goes beyond religion and speaks to the human desire for connection, meaning, and purpose. It reminds us that we have the power to make a difference, starting with the commitments we make and the values we live by.
Well said. I think Elder Bednar would be happy with that takeaway. He's not just trying to convert people, he's trying to inspire them to live better, more meaningful lives.
And that's a message worth sharing. Regardless of your background or beliefs, it's a message that can resonate with anyone searching for purpose, strength, and a way to make a positive impact.
This is where it gets really interesting. Elder Bednar then goes on to share some pretty compelling stories about people facing difficult situations. We hear about a young man involved in a serious accident.
And there's a family struggling to adapt to a new life after joining the church.
Oh, wow.
And another family dealing with a serious illness.
It's like he picks stories that would resonate with anyone going through something difficult, right?
Yeah, he even talks about a woman coping with divorce.
That's like a whole tapestry of human suffering.
Exactly.
But the coin is, he's saying you're not alone.
Right. And in each of these stories, what's so powerful is that they find strength and comfort in their faith. Their commitment to their covenants becomes this lifeline, helping them navigate those rough waters.
It's like even when everything else feels chaotic, those commitments provide a sense of stability.
Exactly.
It's like that saying, there's strength in numbers, but here it's not just about the community, it's about the power of shared beliefs.
Yeah, those shared commitments bind them together.
And that shared purpose, that connection, can be so powerful when you're facing tough times.
It creates this feeling of belonging, like you're part of something bigger than yourself.
So even if you're not religious, I think the takeaway is that having something to believe in, a strong foundation, can really help you weather life's storms.
Absolutely. It's about finding those anchors in your life, the things that give you a sense of meaning and purpose.
Like that true north we were talking about earlier.
Right. And Elder Bednar reminds us that those commitments, those anchors, don't just give us strength, they also connect us to something larger than ourselves. He talks about how honoring covenants brings us closer to God, allowing us to tap into a power beyond our own limitations. He calls it the power of God in great glory.
The power of God in great glory. Wow, it sounds so powerful, almost mythical.
It does, right. But it's really about accessing this source of strength and inspiration that goes beyond what we can do on our own. It's about believing that there's a power greater than ourselves that can help us overcome obstacles and achieve things we never thought possible.
Right, and he's not just talking about miracles or anything like that. It's more about finding that inner strength, that resilience to keep going when things are tough.
Exactly. It's about that deep well of courage and determination within us. And for Elder Bednar, that strength comes from honoring our commitments, from aligning our actions with our deepest beliefs.
So whether you call it the power of God or simply the power of belief, I think the message is clear. We all have the potential to tap into something that can help us overcome challenges and live better lives.
Absolutely.
And it's not just about personal fulfillment, right?
Yeah.
He also talks about using that strength to make a positive impact on the world around us.
Right. He emphasizes that honoring covenants isn't just about personal salvation, it's about becoming a force for good in the world.
It's like that ripple effect, where one person's commitment to their values can inspire others and create a wave of positive change.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our actions have consequences, not just for ourselves, but for those around us. And when we commit to living by our values, we become part of something bigger, something that can make a real difference.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot. The Book of Mormon, family history, covenants, the power of commitments. It's amazing how much Elder Bednar packed into this one talk.
It really is. It's such a rich and multi-layered message.
And even if you don't share his religious beliefs, there's still so much here that resonates, so much that we can apply to our own lives.
I completely agree. It's about the power of commitment, finding those things that give us strength and purpose. It's about believing in something larger than ourselves and using that belief to make a positive impact on the world.
It really makes you think about your own commitments, the promises you've kept, the values you hold dear. What are those things that give you that sense of armed with righteousness, that inner strength to face challenges?
That's a powerful question, and I think it's one that we should all take some time to reflect on.
What are those commitments, those beliefs that shape your life?
Exactly.
And for Elder Bednar, the answer is found in the gospel of Jesus Christ, in honoring those covenants that connect us to something greater than ourselves. But even if you don't share that same belief system, there's still a powerful message here for everyone.
Absolutely. It's a message about the power of belief, about finding meaning and purpose in life. It's a reminder that we're not alone in our struggles and that there's a source of strength and inspiration available to all of us.
It's a beautiful message, and one that I think we can all benefit from.
I agree. It's a message that transcends religious boundaries and speaks to the human desire for connection, for meaning, for purpose. It reminds us that we have the power to make a difference in the world, starting with the commitments we make and the values we live by.
Well said. And I think Elder Bednar would be happy with that takeaway. He's not just trying to convert people. He's trying to inspire them to live better, more meaningful lives.
Exactly. And that's a message worth sharing, regardless of your background or beliefs. It's a message that can resonate with anyone who's searching for purpose, for strength, for a way to make a positive impact on the world.
It's amazing how one talk can spark such a deep and wide-ranging conversation.
It really shows the power of ideas and how they can connect us across different backgrounds and beliefs.
Yeah, it really is amazing. It's like we started with this story about an angel in a new book, and now we're talking about like the power of commitments and how they can impact our lives and the world around us.
It's a testament to how these ideas can connect,
Yeah.
even across different backgrounds and beliefs.
Totally. So just to recap for our listeners, we started with this angel, Moroni, appearing to Joseph Smith,
Hmm.
introducing the Book of Mormon, another testament of Jesus Christ. Then we got into covenants, these sacred promises, and how they tie into the Book of Mormon, family history, and even extending spiritual blessings to those who've passed on.
Right, and we talked about how these commitments, these covenants, can be such a source of strength, not just in a religious context, but in all aspects of life.
Yeah, like whether it's wedding vows, promises to family, or even personal goals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about those commitments that arm us with righteousness, as Elder Bednar says.
Love that phrase.
It's about finding those things that give us meaning and purpose and help us navigate the challenges that life throws our way.
Those anchors that keep us grounded.
Right. And ultimately, it's about knowing that we're not alone in this journey.
We have each other, and for those who believe, we have a higher power to lean on.
Elder Bednar talks about how through faith in Christ, we can tap into this power that goes beyond our own limitations.
It's that belief in something bigger than ourselves.
It gives us the strength to persevere even when things get really tough.
Even if you don't share those same beliefs, I think there's still something really powerful in that message.
Oh, absolutely. It's about finding those sources of strength and inspiration in your own life, whether it's through faith, family, community, or even just a personal code of ethics,
It's about recognizing the power of belief.
and how it can impact our ability to cope with challenges, achieve our goals, and live more meaningful lives.
And ultimately, it's about using that strength to make a positive impact on the world.
Elder Bednar reminds us that our values and commitments have this ripple effect.
They can inspire others and create a wave of positive change.
It's a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference, starting with the choices we make and the way we live our lives.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with this question. What commitments in your life bring you strength and purpose?
What are those anchors that help you weather the storms and stay true to your values?
Take some time to think about it. And remember, those commitments have the power to shape not only your own life, but also the lives of those around you.
It's been a great conversation.
It really has. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep seeking those anchors that give you strength and purpose.